Hey, all you cats and kittens out there in the radio audience. Thanks for joining us for part 2 of Student of the Gun Radio this week. I am your DJ, your host with the most. I am Professor Paul Markle. And who are you? Cubby, Roy, Annette. Mouseketeer roll call. You guys don't know Mouseketeer roll call, do you?
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what Mouseketeer roll call is. Only the old dudes, only the old people got the Mouseketeer roll call thing. But welcome back to part 2 of episode 80. That is 80 of Student of the Gun Radio. We're glad that you've decided to take a little bit of time to join us today. And maybe you're one of those hippie, puke-faced liberals that's just listening to try and catch me saying something that I shouldn't say. But I hate to break it to you. There is nothing that I shouldn't say. So if you're out there waiting, if you're one of the puke-faced members of the elitist media, and you're hoping that I'm going to say something I shouldn't say, I can go ahead and put your mind at ease, because there is nothing that I shouldn't say. Now, there are certain things that I don't say, but not certain things I shouldn't say. So clearing that up for you guys out there. Oh, and you know what, Jared? Some hippie puke-faced liberal member of the media just they looked over their shoulder. They did. They just looked over their shoulder. They're like, oh man, he knows that we're listening.
Yeah, we're watching you.
We're watching you. So just watch your P's and Q's there, Buster. But before we dive into the meat of the episode here, the heart of the episode, we're going to go ahead and remind you about some of our good buddies, our friends, and we've been using their products here a whole lot here lately. I think everybody that we're going to talk about, we've been using their products this week, haven't we, Jared, for filming at Student of the Gun TV?
Yep.
Well, obviously Brownells. If you own a gun, and who doesn't own a gun who's listening to me? If you're listening to me right now and you're not a puke-faced liberal member of the media, and you don't own a gun, you need to go ahead and fix yourself. So, but if you fix yourself and you do own a gun or more than one gun, Brownells.com has something for you.
Did you know that there's gun owners out there that own more than one?
Oh, that's right. According to Yahoo News, there are American gun enthusiasts that own more than one gun at a time. I know. I just sent a chill up my spine. But if you own a gun or more than one gun, chances are really high that Brownells.com has something for you. And even if you just own one basic, standard, generic piece of hardware, they've got ammo. So I know they've got something for you. Now, when you go over to Brownells.com, you want to make sure that when you make your purchase that you use the special Student of the Gun promo code. And the Brownells promo code is PEV, or Papa Echo Victor. Now, remember, we talked about this during the first part of the episode. You've only got until August 30th to use that promo code. But if you do, it gives you $10 off any order of $50 or more. So how cool is that? Totally cool. Don't forget about our friends at Colt.com. Colt, the makers of the LE901 rifle. And if you haven't watched it yet, you can watch the new episode of Student of the Gun TV, where we do a complete down and dirty on the Colt LE901.
Yeah, I think if you're listening to this on Monday, it airs at 9 p.m. on Dish Channel 266.
9 p.m. Eastern Dish 266. That's right. That's the Hunt Channel. And you can also watch Hunt Channel on Roku if you're a smart TV guy. If you are a smart TV user and you have a Roku app, you can watch the Hunt Channel via the Hunt Channel app, and you can watch Student of the Gun, which is obviously the most important thing you're going to want to do on a Monday, is watch us, besides downloading the episodes. Now, who else we want to thank? We want to thank, obviously, our buddies at XS Sight Systems, the fastest sights in any light, no doubt about it. And then lastly, we're going to talk about SWAT Fuel. And in addition to the SWAT Fuel special Student of the Gun promo code, which you can use, and that is SOTG 2014, and put all those things in there when you check out for the special promo code. Now, remember, guys, when you use promo codes, it's not only it's our website, it's lots of websites. When you put it in there, you have to remember to hit the apply button. There's a little button next to the promo code box, and you have to click on it with that little arrow thing. and that actually applies it to your order. But if you do that, you're going to get 20% off your total order from SWATfuel.com. How cool is that? It's pretty darn cool. Now, we mentioned this during the first hour, but what the heck, we'll mention it again. SWAT Fuel does have distributor programs. So if you own a gym, a school, a dojo, a Ludus, whatever you call it, and you've got your little pro shop in there, you might want to contact SWAT Fuel and say, hey, how can I get set up as a dealer or a distributor? And save yourself some money. And if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to make yourself some money because that's how it works here in America. We are not a communist nation yet. Well, Jared, you ready to dive into it? You want to talk about fighting?
Yeah, let's talk about fighting. It
Sure.
kind of goes with the SWAT fuel.
Well, yeah, it kind of does go with the SWAT fuel. As Professor Paul takes a sip out of his official Blackwater coffee mug. Yeah, that's not right. It's not Z, and it's not Academy. It's Blackwater, back when it was Blackwater, back when I worked for Blackwater. And no, in New Orleans, Blackwater did not go around disarming people. Apparently that rumor is floating around out there still. How do you know, Paul? How do you know? Well, because maybe I was there. I was there. I was like one of the first few people from Blackwater to get down there. There was hundreds of us, but I was there at the very beginning. So no, we didn't.
Well, if you weren't disarming people, what were you actually doing?
Well, I was actually trying to stop bad people from hurting good people.
Now that's not. There weren't bad people down there.
No, there weren't bad people.
They were just helpless people that
helpless
needed
victims.
food and TVs
and
stuff
Nikes
like that.
and drugs and narcotics and booze and stuff like that. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Everyone's a victim. We're going to talk about a little phrase called fighting solves everything. And if you want to make a hippie liberal puke face pee down their leg, go out in public with Jared, do you still have your shirt, or did you loan it to a girlfriend and never got it back?
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's what I figured.
My shirt and my sweatshirt.
Your shirt and your sweatshirt got borrowed.
What did I learn? I learned that my good shirts that I like, I don't give them anymore.
You don't give your girlfriends, you let them wear them home anymore because you'll never see them again. Anywho, Jared had a T-shirt and also a sweatshirt that said "Fighting solves everything" on the front, and then it had the name of the gym on the back. And we were out. This is years ago. We were at. Should I give them a promo? We were out at the major national discount store, and Jared was wearing his shirt, and some lady. And this is how crazy people are in America today, in the United States. They think, I don't know who told them that. Who said, hey, you have the right to walk up to anyone you like and tell them what you think, any kind of weird, twisted, liberal, hippie garbage that you want to spew out of your mouth. People have to listen to it. And so as a family, we're walking into the national discount chain store there. And Jared's got his shirt on. Jared, he fights. He's fought professionally as a mixed martial artist. And this lady who had to be in her 50s or something, she reads the shirt, then she reads it out loud. And what did she say, Jared? No, it doesn't, or that's not right, or you shouldn't have that on, or something.
She said something like, no, it doesn't. And then she went on to tell us how her brother had died from fighting. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, well, obviously he wasn't
very good.
Yeah, he wasn't doing the right thing.
If your brother died from fighting, he was doing it wrong. But, and see, this lady made the mistake of spouting off at the mouth, not in front of me, not in front of Jared. Oh, no. She made the mistake of spouting off and running her stupid mouth in front of Mrs. Markle. And that was a mistake that she quickly learned about. She realized that her mistake very quickly.
It was one of those, she yelled at me, and then the lady that didn't know what she was talking about yelled at me, and then I went in my head, 3, 2, 1.
Ding! Boom! It's kind of like you could hear the...
Yep.
And anyway, Mrs. Markle mushroom clouded her, and she slinked off into the corner there and shut her stupid mouth. But let's talk about fighting. People, let's face it, if somebody gets sick, someone in your family gets sick, someone you know gets sick, a friend gets sick, especially if they get sick with the C word, what do they always say? They say, they're not giving up. They're a fighter. They're going to fight this. They're going to beat it. People fight depression, or they battle depression. Or what do doctors say? Doctors say they have a fighting chance. So we say this all the time, and we don't think anything of it until you actually fight for what you believe in. And there's an element in this nation that doesn't want you to be able to fight for what you believe in, because fighting is wrong. And no matter what the reason or whatever, no matter what the cause, you shouldn't fight. Well, what should you do? Should you just submit? And this is something that's really kind of gotten under my craw here lately. Maybe not lately, but when people who aren't familiar with Student of the Gun Radio, or they hear it once or twice, or they read an article that I wrote, and they're like, "Oh, well, you shouldn't take such a firm stand, or you shouldn't be so strict or so rigid." Not everyone tells me I shouldn't be rigid, but so rigid in your stance there because everyone has their opinion, blah 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 blah, and it's almost to the point where people have said, well. And some of them have said, you shouldn't do that because the people that aren't on our side, they won't like it. And I say, so what you want me to do is you want me to be nice to the people who are trying to disarm me. And by disarming me, ergo, they're putting my family and the lives of my family in jeopardy. They're deliberately attempting to enslave me and my family. They're pushing towards civilian disarmament. They're pushing for big government, less independence for the individual, more collectivism. That's what their goal is. And you're telling me that I have to be nice to these people because they might not like what I have to say, or it might hurt their feelings. Folks, I don't know how we got to this point as a nation where we decided that we needed to be worried or concerned with hurting the feelings of our enemy, of hurting the feelings that someone who's trying to defeat you. And don't think for 1 second that's not the goal. There is a goal. And if you are a constitutionalist, if you believe in the founding of this nation, and that the founding of this nation, although imperfect, was pretty darn good. If you believe that this nation, the United States of America, happens to be the greatest example of individual liberty and self-government, although imperfect, in the history of the world, if you believe in that, then why should you be afraid to defend it? And why should you be afraid to offend those who don't believe in that?
We've got people that write in from all over the world, and every single one of them that's not the United States says, don't let this happen to your country. They all say that, every single one of them. And why is that? It's because they have firsthand experience on what it's like to not be free.
We've gotten that from where? Australia. We've gotten that from
England.
Merry old England, the old country.
Yeah, there's
people in England,
more.
Ireland, Scotland, and so forth. Yeah, and I know you guys over there in Great Britain that it tweaks you for me to refer to England, Merry old England, but
isn't that the same thing as Australia?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like the same thing,
yeah,
right?
Kind of the same. They're all not free, so it's all the same to me.
Hey, you know what Jared and I were talking about? We haven't heard from any of our Kiwi listeners. So, hey, if there's one of you down there in New Zealand that can hear the sound of our voice and understand what we're saying, send us a note. Say, hey, yeah, tell us that I'm sure we've got at least one. I mean, we got listeners in Switzerland, and I would say pretty much every English-speaking country in the world. So send us a note. We haven't heard.
We should get a translator.
For what?
There's not an automatic service for that yet.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. Is there a Google Speak translator that someone can just like translate iTunes directly into Russian or German or?
Yeah, that would be horrible.
That would be horrible.
The translation would be absolutely horrible.
It would probably be as bad as the YouTube caption, the closed caption, the automatic closed captioning for YouTube videos. I'm going to give you a quick aside here. If you guys ever want a good laugh, go to any YouTube site. You go to ours, go to anyone's, go to any YouTube page, and click on the captioning. Click the automatic captioning and read it. And it's pretty funny what the computer thinks it's hearing, because it's not hearing what it thinks it's hearing. But regardless, let's get back to fighting. Folks, we fought for independence. You realize that, right? That your great-great-great-grandfathers and grandmothers and ancestors, that they fought for independence. They didn't petition for independence. They didn't vote for independence. They fought for independence. There is a difference. And it's a good thing they did. Otherwise, well, we'd be, I don't even know what we would be right now. We'd be like a broken set of city-states or something, some kind of weird socialist enclave where we spoke French and Spanish and English and what have you. But thank the Lord that my great-great-grandfather, the patriarch of my family, fought with the Pennsylvania Riflemen, that he fought for independence and that we won independence. You know, and that's another thing when people say that they won, or are we allowed to win anymore, Jared? Is it okay to win?
Everybody wins.
Oh, that's right. Everyone wins. But it's kind of like rights. When everything is a right, nothing is a right. And I would say this to you: if you've got little crumb crunchers that are playing, not municipal soccer or whatever, and everybody wins, or that you're in one of these little sports leagues where they don't keep score or what have you. Oh, everyone wins. No, wrong. Everyone loses. There's no such thing as everyone wins. But shut up. Don't butt me. If you're got your kid in a little we don't keep score because everyone's a winner, it's horse crap. What you're teaching them is showing up means you win. That's not how the world works. Oh, let's just stop. How do you think our grandparents and our great-grandparents, how do you think they learned to compete in life? How do you think they learned to excel in life? They didn't learn to excel. They didn't learn to do the best or to be the best because everyone is a winner. That's crap. That is a recipe for mediocrity. I don't want my kids and I don't want my future grandkids thinking that mediocrity is the thing that you should strive for. Jared, do you believe that? Do you understand? Do you think that, I'm good enough, C- student is what I should be?
No, I definitely don't believe that. And what is it that you say good enough is not?
That is absolutely correct. Good enough is not. You're like, wow, man, Paul's giving me like both barrels. And yes, I am giving you both barrels today. But, I'm tired of this mealy-mouthed. Now, I expect it from the hippie liberal puke faces. I mean, I expect it from them. But what I don't expect it from is people that are supposed to be in the audience. People tell me all the time, they're like, oh, you're preaching to the choir, man. You're preaching to the choir. We all get it. Apparently, we don't.
That's one thing that I can say about the school that I went to or the school system when I was in it is, yes, they withheld a lot of information, but not everybody won when I was there. You had winners and you had a lot of losers.
Yeah, and you know what? If read Vince Lombardi's quotes to be a winner. Jared, go ahead and pull that up real quick because you can do that over there and the audience won't hear the keys clicking on your keyboard. But pull up the quote that we've got in our gym here, in the House of Pain, in the Student of the Gun University Dojo. There is a poster. And on that poster is a direct quote. It's actually a speech that Vince Lombardi gave. Now, I know some of you young kids out there, you don't know who Vince Lombardi is. So, A, if you don't know who Vince Lombardi is, that is your homework assignment for you today from Professor Paul. You need to find Vince Lombardi, and you know how to work the search engines. You know how to work DuckDuckGo. So look it up. And Jared, through the magic of the internet, he's pulled it up for me. And I'm going to go ahead and read the first 2 paragraphs. This is from Vince Lombardi, and it's titled, "What It Takes to Be Number One." Winning is not a sometime thing. It's an all-the-time thing. You don't win once in a while. You don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. There is no room for second place. There's only one place in my game, and that's first place. I have finished twice in my time at Green Bay. I don't ever want to finish second again. There's a second place bowl game, but it's a game for losers, played by losers. It is and always has been an American zeal to be first in anything we do, and to win, and to win, and to win. And we weren't planning on putting that in the show notes, but it is apropos. It is 100% appropriate. And I tell you what, it goes on, and like I said, we have a poster with the complete beginning to end speech from Vince Lombardi, and it's hanging in the Student of the Gun House of Pain in our dojo. And Jared has added that to the show notes. So when you guys go to studentofthegunradio.com, you can read the entire thing. And I would suggest that you actually print it up. I think you should print it up and take it with you, give it to your kids. If you've got kids, print that up and give it to your kids. Make your kids read that. And if you think that it's going to hurt their feelings, then maybe they need to toughen up a little bit. But fighting solves everything. Try fighting once in a while. Try fighting for what you believe in. There's not enough fight left in the American populace. There's too much of this, just want to get along. I want strangers to agree with me. I don't want anyone to think that I'm radical or extreme, or I'm just going to sit over here quietly and watch TV. Bull crap. The time for that is over.
I found another quote. This website's actually pretty cool. It's got a bunch of stuff about Lombardi on here. There's another quote. It's under the success and sacrifice section. It says, "To achieve success, whatever the job we have, we must pay a price." And that's a simple quote, but it is extremely true.
It is absolutely true. And that flies in the face of the everyone gets a trophy, you're a winner just because you showed up mentality. And, many people have talked about it before me. Rush Limbaugh pointed it out during this whole Occupy Wall Street nonsense, horse crap. And what he said, these 20, 21, 22-year-old kids, this is the graduation of the first generation of everyone wins soccer. Okay? Starting back in the 90s when they started this, we can't keep score because it might hurt the kids' feelings not to win, so everyone wins. And so these kids now, they're 20, 21, 22 years old. They're entering the workplace. And their whole lives up to this point, they've been told or convinced or that by their professors and their teachers and their whatevers that showing up is good enough. And it's your right to win. It's your right to get paid. It's your right to have a job, not just a job, the job that you want. It's just your right, just because you're here. And when the reality of that slaps them in the face, boy, it just offends them. It just hurts their feelings. They can't, what do you mean everything I want isn't mine for the taking? What do you mean I actually have to get up early and stay late if I want to get ahead in life? What? I worked 39 and a half hours this week, and that's enough for me, if that. So fighting solves everything, folks. And check out, make sure you go to studentofthegunradio.com and check that out. Now, you want to move on to the next story, Jared? We're good on time?
Yeah, let's move on to the next story. I'm sitting over here reading some of these quotes. It makes me want to go punch the bag or something.
I want to get out in the gym. And I went ahead and took some SWAT fuel before we sat down because I'm going to be after.
Is that why you're twitching over there?
I'm not twitching. Shut up. You don't twitch. But no, seriously, I am gonna hit in the gym and punch the crap out of that bag after we're done doing the radio today. But this story comes to us from our friends at AmmoLand.com, and the title is Mississippi Yawning. You like that play on words from the Mississippi burning. Mississippi yawning. 1 year later, dire open carry predictions prove false. What? You're telling me that it's been a whole year? Yes, it has. You guys remember we talked to you about it. If you've been around for a while, if you've been a following student of the gun, you know that last July, we mentioned the fact that the governor and the Senate and the House here in Mississippi, they didn't really pass concealed carry, or open carry, that is, because, and this is the weird thing that people don't understand, especially outsiders and hippies and ninnies like Nanny Bloomberg and so forth. This is what they don't understand, that open carry has always been lawful since the founding of the state, since the Constitution of the state of Mississippi was written. But because the wording in the law, then the concealed carry law, was kind of weird, it was kind of arbitrary. What they did is they went in and they cleaned up the wording, got that basically the confusing verbiage out of there, and simply just reaffirmed the fact that Mississippi is a, quote, open carry state, as in you don't necessarily have to have a concealed carry permit or a gun permit or whatever to carry a gun. Any resident of the state can do it legally and lawfully. And the hippies freaked. And what we found kind of just laughable, Jared and I and all of our friends and compatriots, is Mississippi has had a shall issue concealed carry permit system in place for a long time, for decades. And people in Mississippi have been carrying guns for a long, long time. And it's never been a big issue. It's never been a problem. But when, the newspapers picked up on this whole open carry thing, they started stroking out. And all the sheep that don't understand, they started stroking out. And then your outside third parties, your Nanny Bloombergs and your Mom's Demand Sandwiches and all those kind of groups, they started sticking their nose in our business and talking about how, people are gonna be killing each other at intersections and shooting each other over parking places. And
one of the quotes that I remember, one person said it was gonna be like the Wild Wild West.
Those idiots, they say that all the time. They've been saying that stupid crap for at least 20 years, probably longer. When I remember when Florida passed concealed carry back in the 80s, and they never come up with anything new, Jared. You don't realize because you're relatively young, but I've been paying attention for 20, 30 years now. And it's the same broken record crap. Every time we hear it's going to be like the Wild West. Number one, read study some history. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, number one. And no, it's not. But it doesn't matter, because what always happens, it happened in Ohio, when Ohio in 2004 passed they passed a shall issue concealed carry law. The same stupid crap. Oh, people are going to be killing each other for no reason in parking lots and over parking spaces and blah, 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 blah. And it didn't happen. And it didn't happen here in Mississippi, and we knew it wasn't going to happen. But you know what they'll never do? Admit it. Yeah, the ninnies and the nitwits and the hippies, they'll never say, "Oh, you're never going to see CNN do a follow-up story. 1 year into open carry, and none of the dire predictions have come true. Nothing has changed. Good people have guns and defend themselves against bad people. Bad people are always going to have guns, whether it's legal or not legal. We thought you guys would appreciate that. And quite frankly, it wasn't until I looked at this news story that I realized that it had been a full year since the reaffirmation of open carry in Mississippi. And no, the rivers or the streets are not running red with rivers of Ron Burgundy's blood. What are we going to talk about next? Oh, we got a Go Team moment here. This is a Go Team moment, and this one was sent to us from one of our students of the gun out there in the hinterlands. They wanted to make sure we were aware of this, and this comes to us from azfamily.com. That's Arizona. ArizonaFamily.com, and the title of the story is Police Identify Carjacking Suspect Shot by Neighbor.
Did you notice that we don't really talk about Arizona that often?
We haven't lately. We haven't talked about Arizona much lately.
Yeah, there's not really much that goes on there, I guess.
There is a lot goes on there, but we talked about. I don't know when's the last time we talked about it. Oh, I know when the last time we talked about Arizona was when that dude fired his gun in the mall parking lot and then like stood there and gave this long interview to the Channel 5 Action News, and that's when we reminded you, don't do that.
Yep.
Don't go. Oh, yeah. If you're ever involved in a lawful, justifiable use of force shooting, and the media wants a statement, have your lawyer give them the statement. You shut your mouth.
Shameless plug here. If you want to know what to do in the aftermath or even leading up to a deadly force situation, pick up the Armed Living DVD.
Yeah, pick up the Armed Living DVD, and we will remind you not to do that. But the opening paragraph of this story, and this was a shooting where a good guy lived and a bad guy died. It says, a suspect in a carjacking of an elderly woman last week has now been identified. Police say the suspect is Michael Medina. I wonder what Michael Medina's immigration status is, Jared. Do me a favor, skim down through here and find out if Michael Medina is in the country illegally as I go ahead and continue. The incident happened around 3:30 p.m. Friday. What? Nah, stop. Was this a bad neighborhood? Is this somewhere that somebody shouldn't have been? Because that's the only place that crimes happen, right? Is late at night in bad neighborhoods. No, this was in a residential neighborhood in the middle of the day. Friday afternoon in a neighborhood on 21st Avenue and Clarendon. A 66-year-old woman pulled into her driveway in her SUV. She was in the driver's seat when Medina came to the driver's door and asked to use her phone. She said no, because that's a ruse that they always use. Okay, it's 2014. My car broke down. I need to come into your house and use your phone. What? Are you kidding me? 8-year-olds have mobile phones today. This whole, I need to use your phone. People's dogs have their own mobile phones today. All right. The whole, I need to use your phone. That's a ruse that scumbags use to try and take you off your game. But anyway, she said no and said, I don't know you. He then pulled her out of the car and threw her to the ground and jumped into her vehicle. Well, a man and a woman who lived next door saw the guy walking up to the lady, and as good neighbors, they realized, hey, who's this jackhole, and what's he doing? And they saw what went down. They went up to the woman. The woman of the couple went up to the vehicle and pulled open the passenger side door. Medina then backed out of the driveway. The vehicle struck the woman and knocked her to the ground. So basically, he ran her over, causing severe head injury. After seeing his wife be knocked to the ground, police say the husband fired several shots at the suspect in the vehicle from a handgun he had gotten from inside his house. Okay. I don't know how that's pertinent, but okay, rock on. Police say Medina fled in the vehicle in the area, and they called the ambulance. They transported the lady, and looks like that all the good people are going to be okay. It says a short time later, police received a call of a single vehicle collision. That means a car ran into something. And Medina had apparently run off the roadway because of a loss of hydraulic pressure. Now, how do we lose hydraulic pressure in the human body there, Jared? We put holes in it, right?
Yeah, you get more holes than you came with.
Yeah, more holes. And so Medina and responding officers discovered that it was indeed the stolen vehicle and that the driver was the suspect, and he had suffered a gunshot wound. He was transported to the local hospital where he later died of his injuries. And it says it will require... You've got to love the media. It says he was transported to the local hospital and died of his injuries. Next sentence, it will require an autopsy to determine the actual cause of death. What? Well, I'm gonna.
He could have died from head trauma in the car crash.
That is true. That is true, Jared. Generally when I'm not a doctor, and I did not say it at Holiday Inn Express last night, but generally when you introduce projectiles into the human body and it starts to leak, and then that person expires, the cause of death is usually a gunshot wound. But like Jared said, now Jared, how are they going to know if he? Like, let's say he bled to unconsciousness and then drove off the road, smashed into a telephone pole, and bashed his head into the windshield. Yeah, his head's going to be all bashed in, but maybe he was already exsanguinated up to that point. I don't know. But good news is, and people are like, and there's already some like, you can't just shoot people for stealing cars. What? You can't shoot people for stealing cars. Okay, this was not I'm going to wait till 3 a.m. and use a coat hanger to steal your car. This was a violent assault. This was a robbery in progress. And according to this, the original story said that the neighbors were treated and released due to further injuries, and that they would not be charged. Is that correct, Jared?
Yeah.
Yeah. So go team moment. And the only thing I can, I don't know how this works, but they said, that he retrieved it from his home. I guess he didn't have a gun on him. So if he didn't have his gun on him, that's the only thing I'm going to ding him for.
I would say if he would have had one on him, his wife might not have had.
Yeah, see, that's the one thing I'm thinking is like, the couple comes out and they're like, hey, that guy just pulled Mrs. McGillicuddy out of her car and threw her to the ground. That's not right. And he's like, I'm going to go get my gun. And he runs into the house. And while he's running in the house to get the gun, his wife's running over saying, hey, you can't take her car. And of course, this scumbag is like, yeah, I'm just going to run you over. And so this dude sees his wife get run over by this car, which is using a vehicle to commit an assault. So it's assault with a deadly weapon. And he ventilates this dude. And the good news for the respectable citizens of this neighborhood in Arizona is that Mr. Medina will no longer be carjacking people. So go team. We got enough time to get through these next two stories. We have to, right?
We'll probably just be able to get through one of them.
Oh, really?
Let's talk about.
That's going to make.
I think you can make this one quick.
Oh, no quickie.
No quickie.
Never a quickie, always a longie.
We're at 37 minutes right now, so.
Well, all right. Hit me with some. Hit me. I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you see it's never shown. Well, by the slave state music that we're going to be visiting a slave state. And this particular one is the Glorious People's Republic of New York. And in the Glorious People's Republic of New York, what do we know? We know that you have the criminals on one side, you have the police on the other side, and then you have the good people, the innocent citizens, trapped in the middle. And the story comes to us from the NewYorkDailyNews.com. Title, Public Advocate Pushes for Body Cameras for Cops in Wake of Chokehold Death. Okay. What's this all about, Jack? It says, in the wake of a controversial caught-on-camera chokehold death of Eric Garner, the city's public advocate is pushing to equip city cops with body cams to record all altercations with the public. We've got a tool at our disposal which is used in other jurisdictions that, in fact, can improve police-community relations, said public advocate Letitia. Is that Letitia?
I would assume so.
Oh, it's Letitia. Whatever. Letitia James on Thursday. The question is why it isn't implemented in New York City. Okay. And what Letitia here is saying is that the waterproof 3-ounce cameras James demonstrated, she held it up, and are worn on the lapel or the belt and will record audio and visual. It says visual?
Yeah.
Dude, who writes for the New York Daily Times? We posted a story yesterday on Student of the Gun Facebook about our buddy Steve Lauer, how he was intimidating and hurting the feelings of Nanny Bloomberg. And a lot of our fans jumped in and they're like, who writes this crap? There's so many errors in this story. Do they not have copy editors?
If you guys haven't read that story, go to facebook.com/studentofthegun and read it. It's actually a pretty entertaining story.
It's pretty cool. Our buddy Steve Lauer from Duracoat was poking fun at Nanny Bloomberg and made him cry. But it says it would record audio and visual for up to 8 hours on a single battery charge. All right, we'll just get beyond the dude who wrote this piece of garbage here. It would be Edgar Sandoval and Barry Paddock. Well, apparently their moms must be real proud of them, and because they're putting their degrees in journalism to good use here. Anyway, on July 17th, the Bystander filmed Staten Island cops putting Garner in a chokehold, which are banned by NYPD. The city medical examiner declared the Garner's death a homicide. Ooh. And Staten Island District Attorney Dan Donovan said last week he will present the case to the grand jury. Okay. So what do we know here? Well, number one, when they say public advocate, Letitia James here, who is Letitia James? Is she an advocate for you, the victims of crime? Or is she an advocate for the criminals against the police? It seems to me that Letitia here is more worried about the actions of the criminals than the police. But what I'm going to say to you, Ms. James, is you better be careful what you wish for. I don't know. Does Letitia James, does she want, because remember, these cameras aren't facing the police officers. They're facing away from the police officers. That's the police officer's point of view, which would be facing the tools and the douche nozzles that they have to deal with on a daily basis. So, Ms. James, do you really, really, really want the actions of all these douche nozzles and turds and what they say and their actions and mannerisms? Do you want that all recorded for the record? Because if I was a cop in New York, I'd be like, okay, Ms. James, rock on, RTFO. You want to go for that? Let's go for it. And for every questionable chokeout, there's going to be thousands of hours of your constituency misbehaving on camera. You want that? And how about you innocent people out there in the middle, you innocent citizens that are hanging out in the middle? Do you want to live in this big brother state? Well, I guess in New York City it's too late, right, Jared? There's like cameras on every corner, on everything. So, it's too late. That ship has already sailed. But now, for all of those you reasonable people up there, you reasonable people up in the People's Republic of New York, you're like, well, yeah, what we should do is we should do this. It says the cameras would cost about $5 million if given to 15% of the police force. I don't know how you figure that out. You're like, okay, 15 out of every 100 get a camera by lottery or short straws or something. And then it says the price would go up to $32 million to expand the program citywide. Now, that's just for initially equipping them. Hey, Jared, when you put cameras, as a dude that deals with a lot of video and audio, what happens when you put multiple cameras everywhere? What do you have to do with all that?
You have to put the footage somewhere.
The footage has to go somewhere?
But I don't know how they...
They have to be archived, right?
Yeah, I don't know how they would, unless they're like extremely small video. I don't know what they would...
It's still got to be
all
archived.
Of those, yeah, $15 million or $5 million? What was it?
It was $32 million to do the program
to do the
citywide.
entire city, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming they have a lot of cops there.
Yeah, thousands.
That's insane. That's an insane amount of video.
And here's the thing. All right, all you hippies out there are like, oh, it's a great idea. We need to do that. Let me hip you to this. Let's say you got 1,000 police officers, and the camera, you turn the camera on for 8 hours. It turns on the moment that they go on duty, and it turns off the moment they go off duty. So you got 8 hours per cop per shift.
And they don't have any dead nights there.
Yeah, I mean 8 hours per cop per shift. So you're looking at a minimum of 8,000 hours of video right off the get-go. And if you're doing this officially, if the cameras are running, see, now dash cams, people are like, well, they got cameras in their cars. It's the same thing. All right, shut up for a second. The cameras in police cars don't run 24 hours a day. They don't run constantly. Essentially, the cameras are hooked up to the emergency lights. So when the officer activates the emergency lights, and it's different per department, but generally, if they put the red and blues on, the camera starts rolling. And then when they shut them off, it stops. So it's not rolling for the entire 8 hours. So if you got a 10-minute traffic stop, you've only got 10 minutes worth of video. And you may only have, 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on how many times you use your lights in a night, what have you. But if you've got these things going, and that's the thing is cops, police, humans don't have emergency lights. So when does it turn on? Do you tell the guy, okay, before you begin dealing with a suspect, you need to turn your camera on? Or if a guy runs out of an alleyway and a woman screams, you have to stop and turn your camera on before you pursue the guy who just beat her up or raped her or whatever. This is stupidity. But hey, rock on. Go crazy there, lady. You want to do it? I say go crazy. Now, this whole chokehold thing, I'm going to talk about that. You want to talk about chokeholds, Jared?
Yeah, let's talk about chokehold.
Jared, as a person who has choked people out for a living professionally, who's gotten paid to choke people into unconsciousness, tell me about the chokehold. First of all, are you crushing the windpipe?
No, you're basically your chokehold is focusing on stopping the blood to your brain. It stops what is John Saylor lateral vascular neck restraint?
The lateral vascular neck restraint. That's right.
And you're cutting off the carotid artery to the brain.
Now you're just interrupting the oxygenated blood. You're not like stopping it altogether.
No.
You're just interrupting the flow of oxygenated blood to the brain.
You make it. You guys know what happens when you less blood to your brain. When you get less blood to your brain than you need, you start getting that woozy feeling, or you start to get tunnel vision, and that's because you're not getting enough blood to your brain. And when you go without the amount of blood you need for so long, then your brain's going to shut down and you're going to pass out. So that way, it can send the blood where it needs to go to your vital organs. Right.
It's a natural response of the human body to go into that emergency crisis shutdown mode. So your world gets smaller and it closes in on you and you go to sleep. Now, is a chokehold, Jared? Have you ever put anyone into a chokehold and they had to be like carted out on an ambulance because of your chokehold, or put on a stretcher and taken away because of the chokehold?
Nope, not that I remember.
How many people would you say that you've actually applied chokes to?
Is this an interrogation?
How many people have you to like tap out?
More than one and less than 1,000.
Oh, okay. So more than one, but less than 1,000. Good answer. They didn't have to be put on ambulance. And you're like, well, how did this happen? Well, number one is it's natural when you get into a fight, when you're struggling with a person and you get their back, it's very natural for humans to go for the neck. That's what they do. It comes pretty easily. Now, if you tell someone that it's forbidden and they're not allowed, but they're in a knockdown, drag out, rolling around on the ground, and they get the neck and they don't know how to do a choke properly, because a vascular neck restraint doesn't crush the windpipe. You're not trying to crush the windpipe. You're actually putting pressure on the sides of the neck, not on the front. Now, if you put pressure on the front of the neck and you crush the windpipe, that is a horse of another color. But what happens when you tell people you're forbidden to do this? You can't even talk about it. You can't even post on your blog about it. But they end up doing it because they end up in a fight, a serious fight. It's like the whole – I love you're not allowed to do certain things in a fight people. I love these people who are like, well, you can't do certain things in a fight. Well, are we in a ring, a boxing ring, or a padded gym, or am I – in a gravel parking lot and someone's trying to smash my skull into the ground? If someone's trying to smash my skull into the ground in a gravel parking lot, that whole, well, you're not allowed to do certain things, is, in my mind, is kind of out the window. But the lateral vascular neck restraint, or the blood choke, is very effective. It's super effective. It is actually a nice way to do things.
It's actually rather quick, too.
It's quick, it's effective, and it doesn't leave any lasting injury unless, A, you don't know how to do it right, or B, the person who's having it applied to them has something else going on. If they have narcotics in their system, they got some kind of crazy amphetamines in their system, and they're not smart enough to submit, then, they can go out and bad things can happen. But, all the in this chokehold thing, it comes down to the public advocates. They don't want cops to do anything. We want you to arrest bad people because there are times when you need to arrest them. But you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to hurt them. You don't want to do any harm to them. Just, ask them nicely to put their hands behind their back, because they will, because they'll understand that you mean them no harm. Really? Really, hippie idiot? How many arrests have you made? Oh, none? Then shut up. But I'm tired of this. When we had pepper spray, the public advocates came out against pepper spray. Oh, it's cruel and unusual, and you have to take it away from police officers. They can't use that. And then it became the taser. Oh, you can't use that. You're not allowed to use tasers. The cops are abusing tasers, and they may. But, dude, I'm all about it. If I was a cop today, I'd be like, let's go back to shotguns and hickory batons. Let's go back to the 1960s. You want to go back to the 1960s? Here's your option. You're a bad guy and you fight the cops. One of two things is going to happen to you. I'm going to take this big hunk of hickory and I'm going to hit you in the legs and about the body until you submit, or I'm going to shoot you with this shotgun. Those are your options. No pepper sprays, no chokeholds, no tasers, no verbal judo. We'll go back to the 60s. Is that what you hippies want? Let's go back to the 60s. Hickory batons and shotguns, 12-gauge shotguns. Those are your options. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jared gave me the finger again, but he didn't give me the bad finger. He gave me the wrap it up dad finger. And we're going to pull this next one. We're going to stick it in the
Yeah, we'll stick it in the third hour.
All right, we'll stick it in the third hour. We've got a vagination report that we just couldn't get to because we're running out of time. But do not forget, ladies and gentlemen, to support the people that support us, Excess Sights, Brownells, Colt, and SWAT Fuel. Don't forget about Student of the Gun TV. We're on Roku. Don't forget to check us out on your smart TV if you're a Roku guy, or Apple TV or Chromecast on tvgonewild.com on the Hunt channel, or just go to studentofthegun.com. Check it out there. Now, coming up in the bonus third hour, we're going to talk about the Reality League, and we're going to talk about the Patriot Bookshelf, and then, of course, we're going to throw in that vagination report that we weren't able to get to in this section, or this segment. And don't forget, for the next 3 weeks, it was 4 weeks last week, and now it's 3 weeks, right, Jared? He's nodding. He's like, yep, right. If you sign up for the bonus third hour, you go to studentofthegunradio.com, and it says bonus third hour. You click there, you sign up for it. Jared's going to send you a copy of the Student of the Gun ebook, A Beginner Once, A Student for Life, and that's going to arrive in your inbox for free, for nothing, just because you signed up for the bonus third hour. You know you want to do it. Just go ahead and do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until we're together again. Now, if you're going to join us for the third hour, I'll just take a quick pause, and I'll be right back with you. Otherwise, we'll talk to you next week. Remember, you are a beginner once, but you should be a student for life.